Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. And if you don't know already, or as you can see by the title, I'm driving something very special today. And I've actually been waiting to drive this for quite some time. Not only just getting the time to have free to be able to do today, but also getting the weather so it's perfect. And unfortunately, I live in the UK and the weather is never perfect, to be fair, unless you get really lucky. And behold, it rained quite a bit today and last night. But luckily, we're greeted with some sunshine, so hopefully that stays for the rest of the day. But without further ado, let's introduce the car in hand, and that is this. Oh my god, finally, the Ford Racing Puma. Only 500 of these things were made, and let's talk a little bit further about it. So, let's get my ugly mug out of the camera and talk about the very car. So, the colour is called Racing Blue, and it's the only colour obviously you could get in this car. And as I said, there was only 500 of these things made. Nowadays, going on a bit, there's probably half that, even probably less. Don't know the statistics on how much is left in the country, but yeah, as you know, obviously people have been writing these off and all sorts. So yeah, there's only a certain amount of these left, so that's what makes it even more special. And what makes it different to its standard Puma more so is the body. So this car wasn't actually built on the original Ford assembly line. It was actually built by a company called Tickford. In the day, Tickford were a company that were involved heavily with Ford's performance division back in time, or more so with the rally. And these cars were actually made to do some rallying, but it never got to see the light of day. So yeah, Tickford were involved with putting all these lovely wide arches together, along with the rest of all the other special body kit. And what I like about this thing is that it's actually not too leery. All it is has the wide arches, fancy wheels, lower suspension, and yeah, even to today this still looks like a good looking car. But although back in the day it was kind of seen as a stupid idea when Ford made this, because this thing cost over £23,000, and even to today's money this is a lot of money. But if you think about it, this is one desirable bloody car, and it's still making money for people today. Yes, not quite as much as what it was new, but even to today I think these are costing around 15-16 grand for a good one, and this one is actually for sale, so we'll talk to the owner a bit more about it later on. So yeah, Tickford made this car instead of on the Ford production line. So yeah, that's what cost Ford a lot of money. And then we can move on to the engine. So the engine's actually from a standard Puma, but Ford used Yamaha to do a little bit of tweaking to the cams, a remap and a fully reworked exhaust. So it only actually made 153 brake horsepower, and there was talks about them actually turning it into 180 brake, but because of budget, and trust me, Ford were well over budget even when they started making this thing, they decided to leave it at 150. So it's only a 30 brake gain from its standard car, which again, at the time, people just didn't quite get why it was so much money, considering that we had the Integra at the time, which was at the time the best driving car money could buy, and again that was about £3,000 less. So yeah, it was quite a tricky car to justify buying. But I mean, if you're a lucky guy or girl who owns one of these now, I mean, that statement is just flawed in every way. So I'm just trying to get my camera work right, because I don't really do this, as you can tell from other bits of the channel. So yeah, let's introduce the owner. We're going to do a quick drive today just to see what it's like, and yeah, it'll probably be his final drive in driving it, and my first and only time in my life that I'll drive one of these things. But yeah, just looking at it now, it's just special. It just hasn't aged one bit. But yeah, oh well, I'm a lucky boy. So yeah, let's introduce the owner, Aaron, and get on with some driving. So you join me inside this beautiful Racing Puma, and you join me with the owner, Aaron. So Aaron, so yeah, we are inside the car. Thought we'd go for a little drive. Aaron's going first, of course, as it is his car. And Aaron, what made you buy this beautiful car?
The honest answer is I don't really know. I bought it in 2010. I was looking at various different cars at the time. Very naive 18-year-old.
Yeah.
I was looking at
a lucky naive 18-year-old.
some might say. Had some money burning a hole in my pocket. Always loved the Puma as such. Wanted an Integra, but I didn't like the red interior. So this is the next thing in line, which goes sort of with the Integra.
Yeah, because this car obviously rivaled with the Integra back in the day.
Completely. If you look at the magazines,
yeah,
the articles that came out at the time, they were sort of linked back to back. And the Integra's got more power. Japanese K series Honda engine. It was obviously far superior in a certain way.
Yeah.
But once you actually drive the Racing Puma, it's more fun, the chassis is better, and it outhandles the Integra.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed, that it's not, the power is probably about 50-60 brake less, but where it triumphs over the Integra, I would say that is the handling, and yeah, just on point.
100%. And even now, 19 years later, there's not many out of the box cars which handle as well as this does.
And look as well. I mean, this had nothing done to it. If this is standard, isn't it?
Completely standard.
Apart from you said about the exhaust, which is stainless steel now, because obviously they don't make the originals anymore. Is that right?
Completely. So it's made by Jan Speed, the same people who made the original exhaust system. One of only 8 systems made as a sort of a rerun. So it's the best of what you can get.
It's the like for like.
Like for like, yeah.
And you've owned other fossils before. I mean, you guys would know that we did some bits with the Focus RS Mark 1, which didn't end up going too well because it broke literally within 5 minutes of driving it. But how does that compare to this?
The Focus is more refined. It is a better drive on the road.
Yeah. Because there's a diff in this, there's a plated diff.
Plated diff in this, where the Focus has an ATV by Quaife.
Yeah. And you interestingly told me that I didn't actually know that this is actually a plated diff, and usually in road cars you get a helical or an ATV diff, whereas in this you've got a plated diff. And you told me that it's only costs £200 as an optional extra, which is crazy, because nowadays in cars when you go and opt for a diff, they're almost like going onto £1,000.
If you walked into the showroom and you're looking at buying one of these 19, 20 years ago, I've seen this, I want one. The only option available to you was an extra diff. It's an extra.
So it was only a diff as an option.
That's it. No other options. It is what it is, and an option of £200 for the differential. You would have gone as a no-brainer. Yes, please. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You're already spending circa £23,000. What's 200 quid?
Yeah.
In terms of things, the grand scheme of things, you just do it, don't you?
And obviously 23 grand 19 years ago, even today's standards, that's a lot of money considering the Integra was just shy of 20 to buy any at the time. So
the Impreza STI
as well,
was a lot cheaper, more power, 4-wheel drive, probably slightly better reliability to a certain point. And you had it looked at on paper, you wouldn't have bought one.
It does everything on paper. This just didn't stack up to any of its competitors.
And it still doesn't.
Of course. But it's just something about it. Like when you look at it, when you're in it, when you hear it, it's just all of that just blows out the window. What's on paper? It's just almost like you just ripped a piece of paper up.
100%.
Yeah.
It's the chassis is based on the Mark 4/5 Fiesta. They did a Zeta-Kes variety of it.
Yeah.
Power-wise, just over 100 horsepower there. It weighs roughly 120 kilo less than what this does. You've got to do something to better that. The Zeta-Kes was a fantastic car.
And the brakes in this as well, they're not standard from the Puma, they're different. They're Alcons, aren't they?
Alcon 4-pops.
Yeah.
Not the caliper that were going to fit to the vehicle in production. Pre-production, they were looking at the 6-pot caliper again from Alcon, but they couldn't fit them under the wheels. So that's why they went with these ones. It's just
and the wheels are speedline wheels, aren't they?
Yes, but no. So the actual model name is Speedline, but they're actually made by a company called MIM, an Italian company.
Okay.
but the design of the wheel is called Speedline.
Yeah.
A lot of people fitted Speedlines to them.
Yeah, because there is a company called Speedline that make wheels, isn't there?
Correct, yeah. They're very, very good wheels. Fitted rally cars, race cars.
Yeah. And speaking of rally cars, this was meant to be a rally car, wasn't it? It was meant to compete in rally championships. Reason why they only made 500. Well, they were meant to make 1,000 of them, weren't they? Again, budget went out the window.
The budget went out the window. So there was 500 cars destined for England, 500 for Germany. The Germans pulled out when Ford said the car's been built in England. So essentially, the car was built in Cologne, the Pumas.
Yeah, it was, yeah. But because of it being specialist with all the bodywork, it actually got done somewhere in the UK.
So
Tickford
was used, which, if you look back in history with Ford, they've got a quite good close relationship with other vehicles throughout.
They did a lot of their racing program stuff, didn't they? Back in the day.
Back in the day, yeah. So they're essentially they were coach builders.
Yeah.
Within themselves. So they got a quite good gig, if you ask me, doing this. At the time, Tickford had actually closed their doors as such, and they essentially rented a warehouse in Daventry and then kitted it out as a mini production line. And there's some photos and various bits of information on a couple of websites based on the Racing Puma. If you have a quick Google, type in Racing Pumas, there's a couple there which will give you all the information you'd ever sort of need on the car, the specs, how they were made, photos of how they left the factory in Germany, how they arrived in England, and then the process of converting them into the vehicles and what they are now. They were sold as a conversion kit, so that's where they got through homologation.
Yeah. Because obviously they were bringing them over as standard Pumas. They were obviously just coming out of the factory, destined to be a standard Puma.
Because anyone making 1,000 cars, 500 cars as a separate model needs to go through the strict testing regulations.
Yeah.
There's all various regulations involved and such. But if you have a car and you sell a conversion kit, similar to what Mountain do now with some of the Focuses, Fiestas, you're essentially buying a standard vehicle and then you buy kit to go on top to make it better.
Yeah.
So you when you bought these from new, you bought a standard Puma at roughly £17,000 and then had a £7,000 conversion kit put on top.
So when you say you went to order one of these, you were ordering it based as a standard Puma. It wasn't off the shelf as a racing Puma.
No, that's correct.
Oh, okay. I never knew that.
I mean, you'd go in and say I want a racing Puma.
Yeah.
But all the paperwork, etc., would state that it's a Ford Puma with the racing pack added onto it.
Yeah. And obviously knowing all this information, you're obviously part of a group that they all have racing Pumas, so you bounce up bits of facts off them. And
Yes, information. So I essentially, as part of a group, there's 3 or 4 of us that run a website called racingpuma.co.uk.
Yeah.
Where we do sort of club events, special anniversary events. The next year's 20th anniversary, which we're holding an event at Dunton. And we often have special guests that know about the car come and have a chat.
Yeah.
So we're quite fortunate that the cars didn't strictly sell very well when they were new. So there was something like 180 to 200 of these cars were given to Ford management as their management cars. I mean, what a car to be given.
Yeah, I know, totally. And because obviously you were saying about they're not all the cars. Well, it's funny because I imagine all the meets that you do, you must get less and less cars turn up because there's quite a few that unfortunately have a short life.
They do.
Whether it's rust or other demises.
With Fords of a similar era and predating these, they do suffer from rust.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, with the confidence the car gives you, and when Chris drives it, you'll find out that you really can go quite quickly, pretty much around anything.
Yeah.
But when they step out, and they snap, you can't get them back. Once you've taken them to the point where it's letting go,
yeah,
you have a big crash.
I imagine that's more in wet. You'd find that more likely to happen in the wet.
Oh, completely. Yeah. In the dry, you got to do some to really really have an incident. I'm not saying it's impossible, because anything can happen, but you drive it like you would a sort of a track car, race car, a circuit on the road, and it will treat you so well.
Yeah, of course, yeah. It's a car you have to respect. It really is. And I mean, we're on a B road now, and the ride, I mean, this is almost a 20-year-old car now, and the ride, considering it, is actually pretty good. I mean, it's not the best, but for what it is and what this car is built to do, the ride is actually pretty compliable.
The suspension system is highly complex. One of the first cars to have a built-in anti-roll bar into the front suspension dampers.
Yeah.
It does still run a front anti-roll bar, but it doesn't need to.
And is that adjustable? Is that something you can adjust?
You can't, but you can. So if you've got enough money and know some very clever people, then things can be. But there's nothing sort of built into it when you can adjust. They did do a separate set of dampers which were available after the cars were made, and there's about 10 sets of them kicking around, and these are blue dampers where the standard ones are black, and they're called RPJs, which are named after Richard Perry Jones, who was the main Ford guy who developed the suspension system. If you search on the internet, you will find lots of information on him. Not just development of this car, but developing suspension systems for pretty much what car you're driving now would have been developed based on his theories. Very, very clever man.
And this is what I mean, like, even though like people said this car is so expensive, too expensive, whatever, it's just like the whole story around it, from like things you can find out from when it's built, how it was built, all the people who are involved with it. It's just crazy. This car's got so much history. Considering this isn't actually a full RS product, this car's, I think, quite underrated for
very, very underrated. It's more special than the RS. Limited to 500 examples. 9 times out of 10 when Ford say you're getting a limited run car, let's take the standard ST Mark 7 Fiesta. They said there were going to be an allocation of several thousand in the UK. They sold within 2 months. And look how many of them are now.
I know. Whereas this was from scratch. Everything was pretty much changed to be different from a standard Puma. There was actually money spent on everything, and obviously that resulted in it to be going absolutely way over budget. But let's forget that and actually enjoy this car, because this is just perfect, absolutely perfect. Of course, we have to drop down a few gears. And of course, you get the overrun pop and bang in the exhaust as well. Courtesy of Ford's remapping with Yamaha. Oh, this is wicked. This is something that puts a smile on your face every time you get in it.
So I've had this car 9 years. I've had 13 other racing Pumas in the time since I've owned this car. And this is the only one I've ever kept. They all drive completely different to each other. They've all got certain characteristics to them.
It's like the Mark 1 Focus RS as well. When I was reading about it for the first time, it was one journalist said, "Oh, I had a problem with this," and then another one said, "No, the car was absolutely brilliant, the brakes were good," and then another one said, "No, the brakes are rubbish." So it's just it's full of character. It's full of character.
It's essentially a car. This is a car built by machines, which has then been taken apart by hand and then rebuilt by hand. The history and what went into this car. It's the last special Ford car ever made. 100%.
Because this was built after the RS, wasn't it?
Built before.
Oh, was it built before?
Yeah. So these were sort of designed 98, 99, and production started
because the Focus RS, because obviously that's right, it was built before, and because of what happened with this, it almost made Ford not make the RS, wasn't it?
And again, the Mark 1 Focus RS, they didn't particularly make much money out of those.
No.
It was obviously a European-based car, where this was British, and even so, the cost of the vehicle compared to the modifications, you could the only way of doing it now is design the car from scratch.
To be actually like the Nissan GTR, which is built from scratch to be just that car, nothing else.
Yeah, no,
so everything's attention to detail is made for a purpose. This thing's fantastic. I love it. I think this is where you give me the keys to play with it.
Oh, is it?
Well, I hope so. That's why I'm here. Yay! Brakes are pretty good for another car. God, this thing is awesome. Why are you selling this? Why?
Unfortunately, we're getting to the age where I need a house.
Forget a house, live in this.
And so anyone who doesn't really know me, I've got various other toys.
Yes, you do indeed. A very special Fiesta that you're hopefully going to start building at some point.
Halfway through building. So Mark 6 Fiesta started life with 150 horsepower. And we'll have probably around 250, 260 at some point. All NA and throttle bodies. With a very special engine, which I'm not going to tell you what it is. We'll save that for at some point next year.
I'm sure we'll do something at a track in the near future with it.
And I've got a little toy Twingo that I enjoy playing around with. Nothing serious at all, but it puts some other cars to shame. Let's just say that way. The way it's set up, it's similar to this. You don't have to have. You can go left or right. It's not about having lots of power. It's all just about.
No, of course, and this thing has got hardly any power considering. And yeah, just going down that B road right now, I think it's just crazy handling. Love it. And when you lift off and it does the popping and banging, that's something you just never go.
Considering we are driving in rural Essex, the car was designed in Boreham, which is in Essex part of Chelmsford. We'll go there in a minute in the car where it was designed. So where I am is the closest car to where the cars were. So it's Ford Rally headquarters.
Oh really? What is that in Boreham?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
In Boreham. So that's where RS200s designed and developed. All the old Escort rally cars.
It's like I'm getting a history lesson.
All from there. So the car itself was designed by Ford Rally engineers. So it's something unique.
Yeah, definitely.
How many motor companies give the keys to a car, any car, go to the rally engineers and go make this better?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
A normal car is designed for road use, for comfort, for moving stuff around, depending on what vehicle you're going to buy. And this Ford just knocked it on the head. Just completely one of a kind car.
So even its steering.
It's so precise.
Oh, it's so good. And every bit of feel. Oh, God. To be fair, I literally couldn't care about how much power this engine puts across. It's just everything else is crazy. Again, even the brakes. I mean, you don't use. You've got different pads in this, haven't you?
They came with the Mintex 144. 1144 pads, racing pad and such. They were standard fitted with the car. Now, unfortunately, as with many special Fords, once they get to a certain age, you can't buy parts for them.
Yeah.
We're quite fortunate that we know a lot about the vehicle, who made the parts to make it what it is. Alcons do exist. They still make a lot of calipers.
Yeah, they do.
They don't make brake pads. Alcons don't make brake pads. So they then sort of outsource that to the friction manufacturers, so to speak, and it uses a pad from a Porsche. Not sure the straight off my head, but it's from the rear caliper of a Porsche, and then they shave a few millimeters off the front face to get it actually to fit in.
Yeah.
And we're quite lucky now that you've got several manufacturers doing pads for it.
Yeah.
Just because they're available in other
It's quite
vehicles.
surprising actually, because obviously there's not many of these things left, and for a company to be making stuff for it still, I mean, probably they're a bigger company, so they can financially do something on the side. Like, I mean, for example, Petrol, who did a lot of stuff with on my Fiesta ST, they still do a lot of stuff with their Focus RS Mark 1,
Yeah.
because it was something that was close to his heart, and he wanted to give back to the owners still, and provide them with good quality products.
I mean, I had one too recently, and mine was standard.
Yeah.
And as a standard car, when it worked, it was absolutely amazing. Fantastic vehicle. Now, I can see why people modify them, but surely we must be getting to the point with the Mark 1 Focus where the people who are modifying are getting less and less. Surely they've already sold most of the parts that people need.
Yeah.
And it's like the Mark 7 Fiesta ST. Again, an absolutely amazing car out of the box. It's been tuned to a death. So many people do bits for them.
Yeah.
And you can't think of. I mean, we're on to the Mark 8 now, which is meant to be going to be a cracking car.
Yeah.
I've not driven one yet.
And we're still yet to see what they can fully get out of them in terms of power.
Yeah. Completely.
Oh, this thing. I'm going to say that this thing blows all them. Well, I think this is a descendant. Well, everything that we have today is a descendant from this, isn't it? Really?
Every Fiesta model, I'm not going to say Focus, but the small hatch, I don't know if that's the best way of describing it or not, but the Fiesta variety of car, this is the pinnacle of it.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
You look back, you got the Mark 1, Mark 2, XR2s, you've got the SIs in the Mark 3. Mark 4 didn't have anything as such, it was a very short-lived 2-year car, and then changed it into the Mark 5, we had the Zetec S, which I think is probably the best Fiesta they've ever made, the Mark 5 Zetec S.
Yeah, it's just a very simple formula.
Simple.
Very light. Had a cracking 1.6 engine in it.
And then you had the Mark 6 Zetec S, which was a variety of the Mark 6 engine with variable cam timing. And then again, into the Mark 7 to begin with, the Zetec S, and then we had lucky enough to get an SD. I think I'm one of many people that over the last 10 years have said that Ford needs to do an RS in the Fiesta. With the technology available, they would sell, but then you've got to think the Focus wouldn't sell. If they did a Fiesta, a faster Fiesta, the Focus wouldn't sell.
Exactly, yeah. And I spoke about this on Car Chatters with Gary from Car Focused. It's just Ford have put themselves in the market where obviously the Focus almost sells better than the Fiesta now. I mean, you obviously still see a lot of Fiestas, but in terms of a faster variant of the Focus, it makes the business sense better in terms of if they did it with a Fiesta, they think that it wouldn't work too much, and it's annoying because I think everyone, if you asked the question to anyone that was a Ford fanatic, or even if they weren't, would you buy a Fiesta RS, they'd probably 9 times out of 10 say yes, and I'll be one of them, to be fair.
If you take Renault for example, you've got the Clio RSs, Megane RSs.
Yeah.
The Clio RS tends to be the better car. The Megane you get a bit more space, you get a bit more power, but it's a big, heavy car. Some of them are, I think, 1.8 tons in Megane. That's a heavy car to be shifting around.
Yeah.
And you get understeer, you get heating issues.
I mean, I've driven the new Megane RS, and to be fair, I hated it. It was rubbish.
Really? Where did you drive it?
I drove it at an SMMT event. It was one of those test days, and I only had the car for about 20 minutes, but those 20 minutes were just dire. It was terrible.
I find that interesting. Last October, I did a Renault only track day organised by Renault Sport.
Yeah, they do quite a lot, don't they? I've seen,
which is very, very good.
Quite cool.
I was there in the Twingo, and they had the Meganes out that you could register to drive, and you did 3 or 4 laps in them. Yeah. I didn't drive it myself, but one of my friends who was also there on the day took one out.
And I'm guessing you're going to say it was pretty good on track.
It was good on track, so the handling was great.
Yeah.
Engine's fantastic. just suffers from the same as the previous generation. It understeers. You understeers, and the brakes are overheating.
See, that's the problem as well. So when I owned my Focus RS, I hated it as a road car. It was crap. The ride was just whatever you had it in, whether you had it in normal mode or sport mode, it was just rubbish. But then as soon as you took the thing on track, it just came alive. And I can still say to this day, it's a crazily good track car. Whereas on the road, it's just dog shite, really.
And there's quite a few cars that exist which do kind of do that. So the Mark 1 Focus RS is a better road car than it is a track car. The Mark 2 is just, I don't know what they thought they were doing.
Yeah, that thing's a
the looks going out the window,
yeah.
It's so aggressive.
Yeah. Whereas as soon as you put it on the track, it just understeers like a boat.
The engine they used was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
All the power you could ever want in a car.
But the problem is that engine was also its Achilles heel, really, because like when I watched them at track days, I've got a mate that's got one, watched him come down Paddock Hill in it. I even went in it, actually. And the thing, it's scary. It really is scary when you're going down Paddock Hill when it's wet. And the thing is just understeer, and you're like, you don't want it to understeer.
Right here. And you go back to the Mark II, you would buy the Volvo over it. It's a lighter chassis, same engine. I mean, I'm pretty sure most of them have, the variety that has the engine.
Yeah.
The V40, is it?
Yeah, it was Volvo's engine.
But they have aluminium hubs, aluminium wishbones. The suspension system is superior to the Focus.
Yeah.
And the car weighs a lot less. And you've got to think, why would you buy a performance car, which is not as good as what the Swedish sort of version of it is? And you can put the same power for it.
Yeah. But it was just, again, the Mark II RS was just something that all the Essex boys were like, come on, boys.
I mean,
it was just such a.
Right now, we're in the home of Ford.
So this is it.
We're literally just further ahead of us. We're 200 yards.
We can go up here.
Yeah, we go up here. Yeah. So the land is still owned by Ford, but they rent it to Essex Place. So we can't actually go all the way in, but we can get right next to it.
Probably good if they saw us in this.
But depends how much of a pain in the arse it is, isn't it?
Actually, we got that.
Yeah, no, keep going. Yeah, keep going. So
never knew this.
So it's the viewers won't be able to see this, but the building just here on the right hand side.
Yeah.
That is where this car was designed. And as Chris will know, this is very, very, very close to where.
Oh yeah, it's pretty stone throw away from you, really, isn't it? Considering. Obviously, it's just full of signposts for police, isn't it? More barrel stall there.
Let's go right at the top.
Unfortunately, it's probably not as interesting as it was back in the day.
No, I mean, as I was growing up, my dad's got very fond memories. The noise this place used to kick out.
Yeah.
It's essentially built on an airfield, which is now unfortunately dug up for gravel. And they were testing all the old rally cars, Mark 1 escorts into the Mark 2,
Yeah.
Capris, all sorts were tested here. And it's just something different.
It's like even when we went to the Heritage Centre at Dagenham, just see, obviously they're starting to sell it all off now. But of course, the Heritage Centre's still there. For how much longer, I don't know. But yeah, it's just a shame that all this stuff gets torn apart. Again, it's like you selling this, isn't it? It's something that you don't want to do, but you just have to, and it's moving forward.
As time goes on, unfortunately, we all know petrol and diesel engines have got a limited lifespan left with them, and production and development is moving away from certain places.
Yeah.
They have to essentially start again with their production lines. They can't use production lines they've already had built. So you kind of go, well, we kind of run out a bit of space here.
Yeah, of course,
we need to start somewhere else.
Yeah.
And once the production started on the other bits of equipment, you have no use for the one that you've already got.
Yeah. And of course, being most cars built now in Germany, it's just it's all cheaper.
It's not the cheapness. certain European markets, Germans like buying German cars. So if you want to sell a car in Germany, it has to be made in Germany.
Yeah.
And I think that's so noble of them, and so proud that you just want to buy something that's designed in your country and made in your country.
I think this thing is a true testament.
This is a British car.
Yeah.
100%.
I think on that note, we have to say a big thank you to Aaron for giving me the opportunity to drive this Ferrari thing, and it'll probably be my last ever time driving one of these things unless I get lucky again. How about you? I think it'll probably be one of your last experiences.
One of the last, and it'd be quite memorable.
Definitely. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you've enjoyed this little video about a truly awesome car. And again, big thanks to you, mate.
Thanks, Chris.
Appreciate it. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content in the future. Take care, guys.
Bye.